Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. The moment they stepped through, they landed on a stone surface, leaving the desert forbidden space. This is. Luo Feng was shocked and looked around. Within the vast space, a rock bridge spiraled into the distance. But there were no beams supporting it, it simply floated there downwards. Master, this is the pathway. Heavy Arrow landed beside, respectfully pointing at the end of the bridge. There's nothing there, reaching the end of this passage leads to another forbidden space. What's below? Luo Feng gazed down at the void below the bridge. Can we fly down? Nothing will happen. Heavy Arrow smiled. Normally if your luck is good, you'll see sealed stars along the pathway. However, the place they are in is very dangerous. There are formless barriers that stop warriors from getting close. If one forcefully gets close, he would most likely fall. I've seen many sealed stars about. If my luck was good, I'd see one every 1 or 2 years. If it was poor, maybe one every 1,000 years. Back then there were some other race emperors that got very excited from seeing them. They flew directly to grab them but they were killed. See one every 1 to 2 years? Luo Feng gazed below. I think I've already seen it. Ah. Heavy Arrow was stunned. He looked down too and stared wide-eyed. Indeed. Luo Feng gazed below. Deep in the void, there was a star that was rolling. Its size was similar to a normal star. The energy it gave off was terrifying. It revolved there in a steady speed within the vast void. True treasure. Luo Feng said. Heavy Arrow said, we can only look at it. There are many sealed stars in Star Tower, just those recorded are plenty, along with many others that haven't been found. It's a pity, unless the sealed stars fall off themselves, even the invincible universe masters of the 4 pinnacle races cannot forcefully grab them. Luo Feng continued forward. Another sealed star. Heavy Arrow walked along the stone bridge and exclaimed shocked. Luo Feng followed. In the depths of below the bridge, they would occasionally see a revolving sealed star in a different position. It maintained such speed for trillions of years, never stopping, until it falls. Just as he walked along the bridge, he received a call request. He immediately sent a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe network to receive the call. Young Tian Chen Emperor. Luo Feng smiled shocked. This emperor was a human. He hadn't been in the Hong Alliance too long but he had spoken to quite a few human emperors within. Many of them were either immersed in their own training or too proud or exploring secret regions etc. Even though Luo Feng didn't get the chance to meet a lot of them, he had gathered most of their basic information. I'm at Star Tower. Through the army system, it showed me that you are nearby, hence I immediately messaged you. Tian Chen said. Ah. Luo Feng nodded. The army system compiled the locations of all the soldiers and broadcast them within the virtual universe system. Even in a special environment like the forbidden space where one could scan other spaces, they could still discover their allies. I've already contacted a few good friends because I was attacked by the forbidden guards within the space. It's rare for them to be so troublesome. 3 of the friends I've contacted encountered the same. What about you? He asked. Ah, you too? I was attacked by the guards too. Luo Feng said. It's getting serious. Looks like the chances of a sealed star falling is very high. Tian Chen said. Yang, if a sealed star were to fall, the forbidden spaces within the tower will keep drawing the warriors closer together. This would naturally gather all the warriors to where the star would fall. Every time a sealed star falls, a huge massacre would occur. You have to be careful too. I'm entering my next space now. After ending the call with Tian Chen, Luo Feng received another 6 calls from allies that were close by. Any ally within a 1 billion kilometer area would be able to detect him. They all went through the same trouble and suspected the imminent fall of the sealed star. After talking to them, it seemed like the possibility was very high. A sealed star is really going to fall? Luo Feng was on alert now. Even though the sealed star was a true treasure, for Luo Feng who had the Spacelock armband, the General Armor, the King Armor, the Showu wings and the ancient clock, he wouldn't simply lose his mind over the falling of a sealed star. With his perspective and the strong calling of the tower, his vision was much higher than others. A sealed star only falls once in a very long time. One is falling the moment I came here. Doesn't seem like a coincidence. Luo Feng was on alert, asking, Heavy Arrow, what happens when a sealed star falls? They are usually different, but there are still some similarities. The forbidden spaces within the tower would all naturally join, gathering all the warriors together, resulting in a final bloodbath. Heavy Arrow explained. Chem, let's go. Luo Feng nodded, not speaking anymore as they quickly reached the end. Looking at the void below the bridge, he could make out the revolving sealed stars below. He kept Heavy Arrow in his world ring and stepped through alone into another forbidden space. This was an ocean world. The moment Luo Feng stepped through, the entrance disappeared and the silver-armored Luo Feng floated in the air above the ocean, looking about and searching for the pathway to the next space. Under normal circumstances, the pathways were very easy to find. It usually took up to 1 day max to find it. The waves began to churn violently, rumbling from within. An explosion occurred right after. An ear-piercing screech could be heard. A jade blue snake-like creature with a head full of metal scales flew out of the ocean, revealing close to 2 kilometers of itself above the surface. Its lower half had limbs as its appearance caused the ocean to shake from within. Its gold eyes stared at the silver-winged and armored human. Another guard. Luo Feng muttered. The stars seemed incredibly unfriendly against Luo Feng. From the first to the 9th space, every space had a guard appear and their battle techniques and styles all had different levels of danger. The 7th space was the most dangerous one he encountered. A 1.2-meter short black metal gorilla wielded 2 huge hammers and was incredibly fast and nimble. The smaller it was, the more nimble it was. The black gorilla was the fastest guard he had encountered in all 9 spaces. In terms of speed and dodging, it could keep up with Luo Feng. Its 2 hammers were more terrifying than Heavy Arrow's attacks. Heavy Arrow could only resort to being a shield. Unless he burnt his undying body, he had no way to fight back. It was the first time Luo Feng used his full strength with the Shou wings, defending against the hammers and dodging. It took over half an hour before the exit appeared. Only then did they escape the 7th space. When they escaped, the gorilla was still howling within. Luckily it's only a metal puppet, unable to burn its undying body. Luo Feng muttered. Madness, this guard, in terms of strength, he's already exceeded an emperor limit, and was even close to an invincible emperor. If it was a true god, who is able to burn his undying body, just burning a little would raise its strength over 1,000 times. I would have no resistance whatsoever. Heavy Arrow was still reeling from the shock. After the 9th space, Luo Feng didn't get attacked by any more guards. Within the tower, they passed through the many forbidden spaces. 21st space. Luo Feng sat crossed-legged on a fireball, as the ball flew straight to the 21st exit. This 21st space was a swampland, and 2 groups of other race Undyings were floating in the skies above. One was from the automaton camp with 22 Undyings, all at emperor level, and 2 of which were automaton people. 2 automaton emperors. The other group was the bug camp, with 6 emperors. Their energy levels were however much higher. Among the 6, there was one that was an emperor limit puppet. This emperor limit puppet naturally represented that terrifying bug Undying. The Undying bug queens, every one of them was a terrifying force. I didn't expect to bump into them here. This will be troublesome. However, there's no need to fear. When the sealed star falls, our race's Lifefall Emperor will definitely appear. Our automaton race will team up. Would we need to fear the bug race? 2 similarly dressed automaton warriors in black armor exchanged glances. Beside them, the 20 other Undyings obviously followed them. The automatons were few in numbers, and every emperor represented a terrifying automaton empire that was truly terrifying. Of course, under normal circumstances, they were still weaker than the bug Undyings. The bug race didn't have such level markings of emperors. As long as a queen was Undying, it would naturally be the most terrifying being beneath night level, controlling an Undying bug army. Each combined attack would make countless emperors shiver in fear. In the distance, a split in space occurred. A silver-armored and winged silhouette flew out and floated in mid-air. The automaton and bug camps were engaged in a deadlock. Both sides didn't seem to care much about the lone warrior that appeared. It's Blade River Emperor. It's the human Blade River Emperor. Ah, this is the one that chased Bloodbeast Emperor away and forced Heavy Arrow into a coma? Both sides quickly went on full alert. The reputation and incident from before made them not underestimate this human. This is. Seeing the 2 distance camps face off in mid-air in the 21st space, especially the powerful energies they emanated, Luo Feng was nervous. Luo Feng carefully examined the groups. One group was huge while the other had less Undyings. The automaton side had 2 more prominent automaton warriors dressed in black armor, and the others crowded together. Their positions were obviously different. It's a pity that I don't know any of them. Even though Luo Feng had studied a lot on many warriors, he knew many of the emperors on Yangji continent. As for Star Tower, there were hundreds of thousands of emperors from other camps, and it wasn't easy to go through all of them. On the other side, Luo Feng turned to look. The group with lesser undyings, with a total of 6 emperors. However, from the deadlock, he could see from their gazes and the energies they emanated that this group was more powerful. It's him. Luo Feng stared at one of the 6 emperors. His energy was huge, and no weaker than Gold Kang and Heavy Arrow. His appearance was ugly, as he was 3 m tall covered in a layer of black. His face had 8 soft black horns that drooped down the side, his little eyes shot a cold gaze. He was from the Ba Yi race, Skeleton Emperor. His reputation was huge within the entire 7th battlefield. However, he was renowned not because he was an emperor limit, and not even because he was from the Ba Yi race, but rather, because he was a soul slave. A slave that was controlled by a Bug Clan queen. His presence here meant that his master was also here. Bug Clan queen. Luo Feng tensed up within. Nan Cheng. Nan Cheng was the name that queen had reported before. Within the Bug Clan, there was no separation of class amongst undyings, no officials or emperors. That queen was naturally simply called Nan Cheng, with no emperor title. However, within the 7th battlefield, many warriors had gathered information on her because she was a Bug Clan queen. Bug Queen Nan Cheng, she controls quite a few emperor limits and pinnacles, among which the Ba Yi race Skeleton Emperor is the one with the strongest defense. Hence she normally uses him to move about, while she and her army stay hidden within a world ring. Luo Feng thought. It's no wonder the automaton side is being pressured despite their strength. It was only then that Luo Feng truly felt that this was Star Tower, the highest and most dangerous place within the 7th battlefield. Finding one emperor limit on Yangji continent was extremely hard, and finding an emperor pinnacle proficient in soul attacks was very hard as well. However, in Star Tower, there were trillions of emperor pinnacles from all over. Even though there were less emperor limits or pinnacles proficient in soul attacks, there were still quite a few. And a few terrifying beings. Like Queen Nan Cheng, this level of being, because of her race, treasures and strength, she was close to an invincible emperor. However, compared to a true invincible emperor like Tru Yang, there was still quite a difference. Her level of being could be considered invincible below knight level. However, against a knight, she would have no resistance at all. It was easy to see the difference between her and Tru Yang. However, in the 7th battlefield, she was already the most pinnacle of beings. Tru Yang's level was rare even amongst the trillions of races. Those at his level were all looking for chances to break through to the knight level. They would hardly ever come to the outer region wars, mainly because they pose no challenge to them at all. In mid-air, the automaton side and bug side floated. Luo Feng stood alone as the 3 faced off, all searching for the exit from the forbidden space. Luo Feng naturally didn't get too close to them. The 2 camps were both his enemies. Why would he get close? You are Blade River Emperor? A hoarse voice resounded. Luo Feng turned to look. It was a larger-sized undying from the automaton camp with a huge iron face and black mouth. From a human point of view, this was the face of a simple and honest person. He was smiling oddly at Luo Feng. Who are you? Luo Feng asked. I am Chen Han Emperor, a good brother of Purple Clock. He mocked. Purple Clock's brother? Luo Feng frowned at him. He had searched a lot about Purple Clock before, but he never picked up on this. However, they were both from the automaton camp. Hence, connections such as this were common. The other automaton emperors besides seemed chatty. Even though they were on alert, whether it was them or the Bug Clan side, they all had the right to look down on Luo Feng. In terms of absolute strength, they were much more powerful. Purple Clock's brother, do you have a problem? Luo Feng looked at him. Blade River Emperor. He snorted, quite arrogant. However, you have to understand that this is Star Tower, not Yangji continent. Over here, especially here, whether it's against us or the bug race, you have no right at all to be arrogant. Ha ha. Laughter resounded from beside. The automaton camp burst out in laughter. The bug side watched on. Luo Feng frowned at the scene. He felt the animosity from the automaton camp, especially from this Chen Han Emperor. He seemed to be filled with killing intent. Back then Luo Feng had killed Purple Clock along with 13 other emperors from the automaton camp, using them as stepping stones. It was understandable that they were filled with contempt for him. I've never displayed any arrogance before the 2 camps. But you, this tiny little Chen Han Emperor, you dare get arrogant before me? Luo Feng mocked. Are you looking? Chen Han raged but suddenly stopped. In the distance, a huge silhouette appeared beside Luo Feng. It was the masked black skinny warrior, and his powerful energy was definitely comparable to the strongest warrior from both sides here. Heavy Arrow Emperor. It's Heavy Arrow. What powerful energy, his in his peak form. The comatose Heavy Arrow has recovered his full strength so quickly. Both camps were completely shocked. Even though both sides were on alert before, they didn't bother too much with Luofeng. Now however, they were on their toes. Even the warriors from the automaton camp who were making fun of Luofeng before all stopped smiling, not daring to brag anymore. They felt threatened. Able to help recover Heavy Arrow to his perfect form in such a short time required over hundreds of billions of mixed element. Just the wealth alone showed how much of a threat Luofeng was, and also, with Luofeng and Heavy Arrow combined, they were a force not to be reckoned with. Chen Hun, know your place. Luofeng gazed coldly at him and looked away after. Master. Heavy Arrow stood behind him respectfully. Heavy Arrow, remember, don't reveal your ancient clock. The fact that you have it is my huge trump card. Luofeng communicated mentally. Understood. Heavy Arrow replied. An emperor limit was terrifying. One with the ancient clock was even more terrifying. Just from how purple clock was incredibly powerful with it was proof enough. Also he was only a pinnacle emperor, who was able to kill 2 emperor limits with the clock. Now, Heavy Arrow was an emperor limit with the ancient clock. Humph. Luofeng looked at the two sides. He was very clear, in the world of warriors, displaying strength appropriately was the way to win respect. If he remained low profile all the way, he would be bullied. Even the pinnacle emperor Chen Hun was trying to stand above him. Suddenly, we've found the exit. Exit. The two sides immediately flew into the distance. Luofeng and Heavy Arrow flew forward too. The exit was closest to the bug camp side. Luofeng and Heavy Arrow were closer than the automatons. The automaton camp was the furthest. The three powers flew towards the exit. Blade River Emperor, the automaton camp and the bug camp will head forward first. You should wait behind. Chen Hun shouted at him. Luofeng turned behind to look. Chen Hun was flying with his large group of emperors. His eyes gleeful, being disgraced earlier, however his words implied their different standings, that their camp was stronger and they should naturally leave first. Humph. Luofeng turned away and continued heading forward. Blade River. Chen Hun's expression changed, he immediately raged and shouted angrily. Looking for death. Luofeng turned fiercely. Heavy Arrow instantly attacked, he rushed straight at Chen Hun since their distance wasn't too huge. With one flying forward and another rushing back at him, they instantly connected. Heavy Arrow wielded an arc blade and it glowed with a purple light. 2 flashes occurred and the blade slashed through Chen Hun's body. He was instantly cut into 3 parts. His eyes still originally gleeful, without burning your undying body, an emperor limit cannot kill me. Your action only starts a fight and when the 2 automaton warriors make their move, you'll be dead. After which his eyes were filled with shock. The 2 arc blades were covered with the Famo poison, they completely entered his body and destroyed it from within. Chen Hun Emperor, dead. The bug side and automaton side all watched in shock as Chen Hun's undying body crumbled. They couldn't imagine, how could a pinnacle emperor fall so easily? Heavy Arrow wielded the blades coldly and looked at the armor, weapons, and treasure left behind, saying coldly, humiliating my master, you deserve to die. Chen Hun just fell like that. The automaton camp was completely stunned. They immediately guessed that the famous Blade River Emperor had some special techniques, buying some special weapons from the universe. After all, even though Heavy Arrow was an emperor limit, he couldn't simply kill another pinnacle emperor just like that. The blade he used must definitely be special, either its material was special or there was something unique about it. So extravagant. That Blade River Emperor must have some kind of background. Before his name grew huge, I heard he got the sacrificial tower treasure and was instantly different. The treasure must have been shocking, allowing him to buy such weapons. The other warriors of the automaton camp, including the warriors in the bug camp, all swiftly deduced. Both sides began to take more notice of Blade River Emperor, not daring to stupidly go insult him anymore. Even so, the automaton camp was still made of emperors with 2 automaton warriors within. Not that they had been bullied, but could they live it down? If they didn't even do anything for their fallen comrade, that would be too huge of a disgrace. Blade River, what are you doing? The 2 black-armored automaton warriors with slight green skin roared. Heavy Arrow had already returned to Luofeng's side, respectful as before. However, no one could forget how vicious he was earlier. Automaton undying. Luo Feng said coldly, I never picked a fight with either yours or the bug side. However, that little Chen Hun dared to insult me. Mph, do you really think that with allies around I wouldn't react to insult? He forgot. The pride of a warrior doesn't submit to humiliation or challenges. Unless he had enough strength. It's a pity my underling Heavy Arrow proved one thing, that he was too weak. Since he dared insult me, then he should have been prepared to receive my attack. Luo Feng's gaze swept past the automaton camp. I believe that all of you saw everything and understand my reasons. If you wish to act because of that idiot before, I will welcome you. My character is such that I do not usually fight with people I have no grudges with. I wish to save my strength for the falling of the sealed star. Wasting any strength now will simply lead to regret later. It'll allow the others to gain the advantage. The automaton warriors all gazed at the bug clan ahead. There were 3 powers now. Luo Feng was the weakest, the automaton camp was slightly stronger and the bug clan was the strongest. If the automaton side fought it out with Luo Feng, they may ultimately be picked off by the bug clan after. Humph, the sealed star is the most important, let's hope you can survive till then. The leading automaton warrior roared. Let's hope you can do the same. Luo Feng smiled. After which, they didn't speak anymore. The bug side was disappointed, but this was still within their expectations. The warriors that weren't too different in strength would hardly ever truly fight it out. Who would attack if they didn't have a guarantee? Without any benefits, what's the point? Chen Hun's death forced the automaton side to question Luo Feng, and he replied accordingly. Everybody understood the reason, as to settling the debt. Was it possible? Who would be stupid enough to risk their life against Blade River Emperor who could even enslave an emperor limit? Seemingly dignified on the surface, but within they were all greedy. There's benefits from chaos. Luo Feng muttered. Our Chinese history has seen all of this before, everything is for the sake of benefits. The bug side, the automaton side and Luo Feng with Heavy Arrow, the 3 groups entered the next forbidden space. The moment they entered, they discovered that there were already 2 groups of undyings there, who were also stuck in a deadlock. One of which was the human camp and the other was the bug side. Tian Chen Emperor. Luo Feng saw a 3-eyed man with long brown hair within the human camp. That was Tian Chen Emperor, a pinnacle emperor. However, because he was proficient in soul and illusion attacks, his threat was comparable to that of an emperor limit. Such warriors proficient in illusions or soul attacks, as long as they burned a little of their undying body to attack, even an emperor limit would be in danger. Young. Tian Chen's eyes gleamed. Qiong Wu Emperor. Luo Feng brought Heavy Arrow over, mixing in with the many others in the human camp. The group of human undyings only had one true human, the rest were from other races. Young. Blade River Emperor. Blade River. Many warriors were shocked when they saw Heavy Arrow behaving obediently around Luo Feng. Back then when he was forced into a coma, everybody had guessed that he would be enslaved. However, to recover his full strength so quickly would have huge costs. It made the emperors all respect Luo Feng, but feel despair at the same time. Everyone was extra passionate with him, those close called out Yang, those that weren't shouted out Blade River Emperor. The camp naturally revolved around Luo Feng and Tian Chen Emperor as the core. On the other side, the 2 bug groups had gathered, many shouted out Skeleton Emperor. Skeleton Emperor, where's Lord Nancheng? Skeleton Emperor. From those words, one could tell without a doubt that the leader of the group was still the Queen Nancheng, who had yet to show herself. Skeleton Emperor? Tian Chen frowned. He's the one with the strongest defense, with him there, Nancheng will definitely be around. I didn't expect to bump into her so early. Even if you don't meet her now, you'll still eventually see her. Luo Feng smiled. Do you have confidence in dealing with Nancheng? Tian Chen looked at Luo Feng. Nope. Luo Feng said casually, you? No hope at all. Tian Chen shook his head. He too was candid. Every bug queen is proficient in soul attacks and defense. Even Skeleton Emperor, an emperor limit was enslaved. She's definitely stronger than me in soul attacks, I have no hope at all. Luo Feng nodded. Right. Undying bug queens were all terrifying, they were naturally proficient in soul attacks, and they even had an undying bug army. The more warriors there are, the less of a threat of this strength difference. Tian Chen said. Right now the Queen Nanchen is very threatening, she alone can stand over all of us here. However, as the number of warriors grow, the threat will shrink. Especially when the sealed star falls, the number of other race emperors would have grown to a huge number. As long as we all combine our attacks, even a knight wouldn't be able to withstand it. They would have to dodge and not take it head-on. Luo Feng nodded. When the numbers grew over an extent, it would get even more terrifying. As time passed, they traveled from one forbidden space to the next. Every space they entered, they gathered more warriors and the numbers grew bigger. This scene made all the warriors sure that a sealed star was about to fall. Only when that was about to happen would the star tower actually shift the spaces this way, gathering the warriors together. Skeleton Emperor. It's Skeleton Emperor. If Skeleton Emperor is there, the Bug Queen Nan Chen must be there too. That old being is here to fight for the sealed star too. Our chances have gotten slimmer. Even though the numbers were growing, whether it was the human camp, demon camp or automaton camp, the main topic seemed to be Skeleton Emperor and Nan Cheng. Nan Cheng, without a doubt, was the strongest warrior amongst the entire group gathered. Luo Feng stood in the air above the grass with the Undyings from the human camp. Meeting Skeleton Emperor and killing Chen Hun all happened today. And this is only the 9th space. I didn't expect to already see over 2,600 Undyings gathered. Luo Feng glanced into the distance. The automaton camp had over 600 warriors, the bug camp had over 800, the demon camp had over 500 and the human camp had over 600. 2,600 Undyings. Even though Luo Feng could recognize quite a few, from the percentage he could deduce. Over 90% were emperors. We haven't reached the final space and there are already so many. When the sealed star falls, how many would there be? Luo Feng exclaimed. It took countless years for a large group of emperors to be revived, and even so, that would only be about 100,000 emperors. In the universe, with trillions of races added together, the number of emperors was absurd. Just Star Tower alone had hundreds of thousands of emperors, exceeding humanity as a whole. One race alone had no way to compete with trillions of others. Even if only 1,000th came out from the other races, it would still far exceed the single race. However, the pinnacle races were strong because they had more pinnacle strength. A tear occurred in the space, a large group of warriors hustled through. It's the exit. Luo Feng glanced over. There are even more Undyings now. It's mostly 2 camps, one from the bug camp and another from the human. No, there are 3 camps. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. There were indeed 3 camps from this intake. The bug camp had over 100, the human had over 30 and the demon camp only had 1. Black Tomb Emperor. Black Tomb Emperor. It's Black Tomb Emperor. Immediately, the attention of the over 2,600 Undyings in this region all switched to the lone warrior from the demon camp entering. He carried a huge blood-colored blade on his back, covered in blood-red scales, with a single horn on his wolf head. His face had 1 green and 1 blood-colored vein, with 9 scaled tails. He stepped through the space, his gaze making everybody shudder. Even though there were over 2,000 Undyings here, they all immediately went silent, their energies suppressed by this one warrior. Even the bug camp with the Queen Nan Cheng instantly went silent. It's Black Tomb Emperor. Luo Feng squinted. There were several terrifying beings in the 7th battlefield, each from different camps. They all stood above the rest and Luo Feng was clear, even if he gave it his all, using all his trump cards, he still wouldn't be a match for any one of them. When the difference in power was too huge, nothing really mattered. If one said that the bug queen Nan Cheng was one of them, then Black Tomb Emperor was another. Nan Cheng used her undying bug army to rule over the battlefield. Black Tomb relied on his 1 blood tomb blade, massacring many. He relied on brute force. In terms of reputation, Black Tomb was higher. As for battle strength, it was hard to tell who was weaker between the two of them. In a small space where the Undying Bug Army would be affected, Black Tomb could easily kill the entire army. If they had sufficient space, the Bug Army could easily attack over and over. That would be terrifying. Black Tomb Emperor is proud in nature. He has offended countless warriors and is from the Chi Wang race. As he offended too many warriors, he fled to the outer region wars during his domain lord level. He then began a long journey of killing, growing till he was almost invincible at emperor level. The Chi Wang race had long treated him as a pillar of support, settling all his enemies from back then, even giving him huge amounts of resources to grow. Luo Feng's mind reflected on the data he read before. Impressive. Growing from domain lord to such a level, if he was better in certain aspects, he would be akin to my teacher Tru Yang already. He thought. Nan Cheng and Black Tomb were both close to invincible emperors. The difference may not seem like much, but it got harder as one climbed higher. To perfect certain areas was simply too hard. For Tru Yang to reach invincible emperor level, it was extremely rare even in the trillions of races. The number of such undyings was even lower than the number of nights in total. Time passed and the warriors kept growing in numbers, all gathering in the many forbidden spaces and heading on to the next. They stayed for half an hour to half a day in each space before moving on. This kept on happening for 2 days and the number of warriors in each team grew to a shocking number. Just our batch alone has over 16,000 warriors. Tian Chen was shocked beside Luo Feng. And we haven't even reached the final gathering spot. The other groups will make the number grow even more. Luo Feng's gaze was however fixed on a warrior in the human camp. He carried 7 different blades on his back, a human warrior. He was dressed in an ancient purple armor, wielding a special black glove on his hands. His forehead had the mark of 7 blades and he gave off an incredibly amount of energy. Even the distant demon camp Black Tomb Emperor felt it, so much so that he strengthened his bloodthirst. 7-Blade Emperor. Luo Feng muttered within. 7-Blade Emperor, a human warrior. The number of warriors in the human side had already reached over 5,000 undyings, and over 90% of them were emperors. Just the emperor limits alone had reached tens of them. There were another 10 emperor pinnacles proficient in soul attacks. Naturally, the core of the group was no longer focused on Luo Feng or Tian Chen, but rather that 7-Blade Emperor. According to teacher, 7-Blade has hopes of catching up with him and Heavenly Feather. Luo Feng thought. 7-Blade was a spirit reader warrior. He rose up from the huge axe dojo and was absorbed as a core genius. And he was the #1 genius of that generation back then. Maybe in terms of talent and improvement speed he couldn't compare to Ku Di or Luo Feng. Luo Feng has the Golden Horned Beast and Mosha bodies, at Sector Lord level, and his Earth body was still at Domain Lord level. Hence, even though it appeared as though his improvement was incredibly fast, it wasn't as crazy as it seemed. But 7-Blade was still much higher than a genius like Bolin. After becoming undying, he was taken in as a disciple by one of the universe masters of the huge axe dojo, later on rising up even further. In just a few tens of thousands of years, he was already close to invincible emperor level, and was not far from True Yang and Heavenly Feather and some other ancient warriors. The upper echelon of humanity favored 7-Blade and all regarded him as having high hopes of becoming a knight. With humanity's nurture and that universe master's guidance, along with some of his own special encounters, it resulted in the current 7-Blade Emperor. This is a true disciple of a universe master. It's that universe master? No idea, I heard it's from the huge axe dojo. Humanity sure is strong, we don't even have one universe master in our race, but they have enough to form 5 Leviathans, everyone with a few within. The human camp discussed in hushed tones. Not even mentioning 7-Blade's strength, just the title of being a disciple of a universe master alone was enough to allow him to lead the group. Because such a being definitely wouldn't fall. What a joke, if a disciple of a universe master fell here, that would be more terrifying than the falling of a sealed star. Luo Feng, if you reveal your identity, you'd stand out even more than that 7-Blade. Barbata said mentally. You are the disciple of the Primal Chaos City leader, and he is the #1 person of the Virtual Universe Company. He defends the human sacred land Primal Chaos City, which is much stronger. And you were accepted at Sector Lord level. Stand out my ass, shut up. Luo Feng roared. So fierce. Barbata didn't bother with Luo Feng anymore. 7-Blade. Luo Feng glanced. It would be very hard for Luo Feng to defeat him at Sector Lord level, but once he broke through to Undying, then defeating him would be easy. What a pity, I'm only Sector Lord level. Without getting the best choice for the 3rd clone and producing it, I definitely cannot break through. My training time has been very short too and my lore comprehension is not high, I'm in no rush to break through. Luo Feng had pondered hard about the 3rd body. Just within Hong Alliance, and the treasure trove, he had checked up on special beasts and their furs, blood etc. However, whatever he could buy, there were a few better than the Golden Horned Beast, yet they did not meet his expectations. The universe did after all have some heavenly beasts, some with only one in the entire universe, like the beast god. Naturally Luo Feng only required a Sector Lord version of one of these beasts. The human camp had a total of over 16,000 undyings, and all of them were from different parts of the universe, with different appearances. Some were flesh and blood life forms, some energy, some metal, some plants. The plant life forms were a huge species, even though plants like the cloud contact vine and star-eating plant had weak consciousness. There were some with intellect comparable to humans, some that looked similar to humans, only with different constructs within. Rumble. The mountain rumbled and revealed a huge, incredibly deep hole, stars revolving within. Exit. It's the exit. The four camps immediately moved, according to their distance from the exit. Over 16,000 undyings from all races entered the huge hole. The human camp was the third group to enter. After they flew in, they felt the time and space shift as they landed on a huge stone peak. A vast space, there floated many stone peaks, close to each other. They were like countless pebbles floating about, forming a huge pathway. Luo Feng already had this experience, knowing that this was the void pathway. Following this would lead to the next forbidden space. Damn! Luo Feng landed on a stone and gazed into the distant space, taking a deep breath. So many warriors. This is simply a pathway to the next space. The number of warriors here should be much lower, yet over here there are over 100,000 undyings. A blur of stones floated in the vast space. Every one of them had a huge number of undyings gathered on top. The numbers was simply absurd. At this point alone, it had exceeded 100,000. The Hong alliance of the humans only has 100,000 emperors. Tian Chen stood beside him and smiled. And the quality of that 100,000 emperors isn't that high either. Luo Feng said. Of course it isn't. Tian Chen exclaimed. This entire process, gathering more warriors from each space, especially the weak ones, after seeing the stronger warriors would naturally back off. They all fear losing their lives. Along the way they would definitely leave. The way to give up on the sealed star was simple. When the large groups entered the pathways, simply not follow them through and wait for the next one to leave alone. That would allow them to leave the groups. Also, many absolute warriors full of confidence around the 7th battlefield may also head over here after hearing the imminent fall of a sealed star. The super warriors of Star Tower are the same, teleporting via god countries over, heading close to the spot. Tian Chen exclaimed. Hence of the over 100,000 undyings here, there are many absolute warriors. Look, the automaton Lifefall Emperor, our race's 7-blade, and that Da Long Emperor, who isn't renowned here. Now that everybody is gathered here and there are so many in this pathway, this will probably be where the sealed star will fall. Chem. Luo Feng nodded. The place where they could normally see the sealed stars was within these pathways. Hence the chances of it falling here was very high. Sealed star. Look, sealed star. It's appeared. The sealed star has appeared. The bustling over 100,000 undyings all focused their attention below immediately. Tian Chen and Luo Feng followed. In the vast space below, a whirlpool of energy appeared and in its depths, a star was revolving and floating up. This video will end here.